Why don't you give me a sign? Like the sea that leaves a trail along that shore. It's not your problem, it's mine. Everybody thinks that I'm okay. Sometimes I think I am too. I'm on the outside looking in. I'm waiting for the shockwaves to begin. Oh, won't you let me hold you for one time? Just a rainy day in a London cafe, a London cafe. So give me one last serenade. Say to me, or swear at me till the night turns into day. And it was a shame when daylight faded, because we didn't notice at all.
And it is a wrap, everybody. It's a wrap.
You've moved mountains to get this film finished. Get home and stay safe, and thank you so much from all of us.
He was talking about the airlines because they're canceling these flights left, right, and center.
Good evening, I'm Isabelle Faye, and I'm here with Fan Carpet at the Everyman Cinema for the premiere of A Bird Flew In. Enjoy. It's really lovely to meet you. What was your inspiration to create this film?
My experience itself through lockdown. I was basically reduced to sitting on Zooms for meetings, and basically thought, what on earth are all these other people going through whilst they're sat in lockdown themselves? So I started to create characters on a piece of paper, and they eventually became the film through the wonderful writing of Dominic Wells.
Tell me a little bit about your character, and maybe is there anything about your character that resonated with you?
I think the funny thing was, because I was shooting a documentary and I was directing it and I was working with an editor, I was very kind of in that zone of locked in an edit suite and just trying and being very kind of isolated and very cut off and having kind of that loneliness, real loneliness. So that's what I connected to, and that's what I could use, even though I wasn't an editor. I was working with an editor, not that I drew from her, my character, but I was just so familiar. I was in that zone of being locked in an edit suite, being lonely, being scared, and so that's what I drew from.
So she's an actress, she's working abroad, which is obviously most of my career is abroad in my case. So you get attached, you meet a lot of talented people, you have special connection with people, and often then you have to go, and it's really hard. In the case of the movie, obviously she has to go home because of lockdown, so everything is slightly more extreme. And so of course, obviously I had a strong connection with that, because every time I create links with people, and then you go on a different movie and you don't know when you're going to see them again. I think with the COVID, you don't know if you're going to ever see anybody else again. And then as well, she's obviously I'm an actress, and sometimes private life could be complicated, relationship with your image when it comes to dating, and so obviously my character goes through certain things in the story that unfortunately I went through as well. So again, I think I never wanted to really brought it up, in interviews and stuff, but when Kirsty asked me to do that part, I felt it was really important to do it.
Amazing.
Naomi, because I play her in the film, she's a producer. Normally I'm the producer in a film. So absolutely, I run most days, she runs. I draw birds, she draws birds. I'm not her, and that isn't my relationship, she's made up, but she's the one I can relate to most, in the sense that she's a producer. She starts the film and she ends the film, and that's what a producer does.
I played the writer of the film, the writer within the film, yes. Yeah. And I'm happy to be here. And, so what should we talk about?
Oh, it's lovely to have you here. I'd like to ask you a little bit more about kind of your experience on set. So how did you find filming coming out of lockdown?
Well, it was fascinating that we were doing it during lockdown. So, which is one of the reasons why I signed on to do the film after talking with Kirsty and Ben, and knowing who the other wonderful actors were, and that we would do this in a very confined space, and that every story individually would be filmed alone. So I just thought it was a fascinating concept, and turned out to be, I'm so privileged and happy with the outcome, privileged to be part of it.
So the film's about lockdown. What was your experience with being in lockdown?
Horrendous. I spoke out I was a very active speaker against lockdown and how I felt it was going to impact on the future of all sorts of professions. So this is going to be really interesting for me to have a look at this, because there was a lot of my friends within this industry who were excluded from any kind of financial help whatsoever. And there was no support for them, and many people had to try and find other jobs. Some of them have never been able to make their way back into the acting industry. So I think it's been a very, very tough time for a lot of people, and of course we're feeling a lot of the consequences now.
It was amazing to be able to work again so quickly post-lockdown. So I think it was amazing to kind of bond with a lot of other creatives, because we all definitely felt a big kind of void not being able to work for so long. But then I also think it was really important with my character's story particularly, of exploring how lockdown affected her. And I think also seeing the other kind of couples and partners in the movie, it was amazing to see how we could portray how lockdown affected different people in completely different ways, whether that be happy, whether that be sad, you know. There's elements of grief and loss, but also, you know, happiness and togetherness as well. So I think the biggest thing that I took away was it really kind of portrays how lockdown was such a different time for so many people.
So what was a highlight for you while filming?
I think, you know, there was a lot of beautiful scenes. There's a little part where I have to sing, and at the same time it's like very chilled, you know, nothing too exceptional. I don't know, to be on set, to have to do something so poetic and light and fun and kind. So it's just amazing after going through the first wave. So that's my best memory.
I think the highlight was, as everything I said from the very beginning, the fact that we would be, it was almost an experimental concept of how to shoot this story, a film within a film, in the times, about the times that were actually happening at the same time. And so we, with a skeleton crew, a limited crew, limited space, limited time, and we would have these vignettes of stories that would all be intertwined, but yet shot separately. I found it fascinating, and also the cinema verite approach to the filmmaking, and also the fact that Kirsty, it was a first-time directing gig for her, and I was very excited. I'm always excited to support new filmmakers. Although she's familiar with film, being a producer and a financier, but obviously getting behind the wheel of being a director it's a heavy load to take on, and I was very pleased and excited to be a supporting part of that supporting team.
What were your favorite experiences during filming or editing?
Yeah, no, there are so many. We were the first drama to be filmed coming out of lockdown, reported in the Times, and we inherited some of the Batman crew because their film was stopped, and everybody was so pleased just to be back to work. So there was this energy and this, we can do it, and you know, from everybody, from the runners up to myself and the producer, everybody was just like, come on, everybody was excited every single day. Then we went to see Sir Derek Jacobi in France to film his bit because he was self-isolating there. That was an adventure in itself. And then John Smith, our editor, he had to edit remotely for a lot of the time with me. So we formed a very strange, like, odd bond that you wouldn't normally with your editor. And it was like, we're going to get this finished. This film's going to get finished. A bit like how the film starts off, I suppose. It's like the film within the film within the film.
We were in lockdown. It was just nice to have the opportunity to work with really good people. And yeah, have the ability to go off and do something, whereas so many people were struggling with not actually being able to do what they like doing. You know, playing this character was very sweet and gentle, and I just, yeah, love working with Kirsty, love working with Ben and Morgana, and making something in a period of time where a lot of people weren't making projects. So it was the first film in England to be shot.
That must have been very exciting.
I mean, it was just so nice. I wasn't filming for very long. It was quite a quick shoot, but I had so much fun because we were kind of thrown into the deep end. And it was really nice to work in a really familiar space. And yeah, just getting to meet Michael as well was really great. And we worked together really well. Yeah, it was all really fun. Can't pick a singular moment.
Oh, that sounds incredible.
It was amazing. Obviously, you know, we were the first movie going back into production after the first wave of COVID. So to be back on set, to have a team, to be with people, and to tell beautiful stories, and a story that actually really touches me personally on my private journey. It was just, it was a privilege to be back on set and to be around so many talented people and artists and storytellers, so it was amazing.
I'm a great friend of Kirsty, who's the producer and the director. And my son did a film that Kirsty produced with Bill Nighy called Sometimes Always Never. So I was aware when Kirsty was making the film. I've heard such a lot about it, and of course we can only all be affected by memories of the last couple of years and how hard it was for all industries, including ours. So I'm really excited about seeing it.
If you could sum up the film or your experience of the film in 3 words, what would they be?
In 3 words? You're going to have to give me a few more. Yeah, it's a film that for me, I'm seeing it now for the second time. The first time, I was a bit caught for words afterwards because it affected me emotionally so much, and because each element of the film is a study in human character and of something that we're actually all going through and have gone through right now in our lives. Usually you'll do a film that was about something that happened or something that never happened, fictional, non-fictional, but I'm prepared to have an emotional trip again because there are some of the things in the film that really moved me and made me sit back and think twice about how lucky we are. Yeah, we're very lucky.
Emotional, soul searching,
It's a master shot. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to be self-conscious.
and the third one, emotional and hopeful.
And then I trust it. Well, it is your story.
Thank you so much. It was lovely speaking with you.
Thank you so much.
Are there any lessons that you feel like you would take away from the character who you played?
I've taken from every character over the last 40-some years that I've played, I've learned a lot about who these people are, more about who I am, more about the process of storytelling, and more about to appreciate as we explore the human story, more to appreciate what we have, always, whomever that is, and more empathy for those who don't.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this was the first time I was filming in Cinema Verite, and also the majority of the filming for my character is done through CCTV. So I think it was really interesting to work in that kind of framework where you have to be aware of how you're coming across, because obviously it's a lot grainier and a lot less, it's a lot more pixelated and everything, so trying to change your actions to get that reflected as well was an important life lesson, I think, trying to adapt your kind of skill set dependent on the kind of like mode of photography.
That sounds incredible. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. What do you think the audiences could take from this film?
I think it'd just be a reminder of what we were all going through, how everyone's relationships were broken, and how yeah, how difficult and what a struggle it was for all of us. You know, we must never forget that time, because it's quite easy to forget traumatic times because we try and push them away and bury them. But I think it's just there to be it's a time in history that needs to be remembered.
Remembering our time that we spent, you know, it's all very well as, you know, talking about the new normal, getting on with our lives in a very, very positive fashion, but it's always good to reflect, and hopefully the people who are watching this can recognise a bit of themselves in any of the characters. There's 12 to choose from, and maybe actually think, you know what, we did really well coming out of all of that as a nation and as a world coming out of it. I don't know. I know what people have said to me when they've come out of it. There's a quiet moment of reflection when the film ends, and then they start talking about their own experiences, which, to be honest with you, it's like a grieving process, isn't it, that we should all go through.
I'm supporting the film. I'm a Northeasterner like Kirsty is, so we've known each other for 100 years. And we always support our own, the Geordies. So I'm really happy to be here in a supportive, non-acting role.
So what are you working on now moving forwards?
Well, right now I'm in the middle of a film called Horizon. It's Kevin Costner's new Western. So we're actually in the middle of filming in Utah. I just shot over here for the premiere and to see some friends and be part of this wonderful gathering. And yeah, so after I leave here, I'll head back to Utah and get back on the horse and carry on, as it were. But yeah, Kevin Costner's shooting this epic new Western. It's 4 films, 4 2-hour and 45-minute films with a wonderful cast. And I'm in the middle of that. Yeah. And happy to be back in a Western with Kevin. This is our 3rd one, first being Silverado, then Wide Open, now Horizon.
Yes, I've got several in the pipeline, both as producer and director. They're all on our Goldfinch website, but I would be very honoured to direct another film.
Well, at the moment I'm recording this like a sequel of a big video game called Cyberpunk 2077. So I've been working non-stop on it nearly last 2 months. I'm finishing in a couple of weeks. It's very different from that movie, but it's really exciting and fun, very different.
Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our audiences about your film or the experience?
Enjoy, and keep going to the cinema and keep going to the theater and enjoying the stories. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here at Fan Carpet. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Are we really alive at all?
One of the things we do know is that our lives will never be the same.
I'm here on the largest of the Balearic Islands, Mallorca. With the turquoise waters of the Mediterranean Sea, beautiful mountainous landscape, the thriving city of Palma, quaint little market towns, a growing number of luxury hotels, it's no surprise that the likes of Audrey Hepburn and Elizabeth Taylor like to holiday here. So come and join me as I take you around Mallorca.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.